Type 2 authentication, something you have, or possession factors. Our subjects use it to authenticate their identity. If they have the item, they must be who they say they are. We already talked about the credit cards. You have the card, you know the PIN, that's multi-factor authentication. And most of them also assume a shared trust. You have your passport, it looks like you in the picture, then we assume the passport is real and we trust the issuer. And that really goes for any of those. The ID cards you use at work, the badges you have there. We trust in whoever issued that card, so you must be who you say you are. Single-use passwords is also something you have. It is not something you know. And I have a lot of students who say, but it's a password. Yes, but you don't memorize it. It's something you have to go look up or something that's sent to you before you enter it. Since they're one-time passwords, they are similar to a one-time pad, and because of that, they make some attacks ineffectual. And these can be paper-based, something that you have sent to you from your bank or your credit card issuer or someone. Or much more commonly used now, they can be the pins or the little string of digits that are sent to your phone the first time you authenticate when you log into your bank or a website. You've already entered your username and password, which is type 1 authentication. Now they send you a text message or an email, which is now something you have, making it multi-factor authentication. Growing up in Denmark, everything is connected. Doing your taxes doesn't take a lot of time because they have all your information already. They have your employer records, they have your salary, they have your banking information, all of it is connected. And like 10, 15 years ago, they sent out a little pad that's the size of a credit card for everybody to use when they're logged in online. You'd use your social security number, then you'd use the password, and then there'd be a challenge response. Look up these 6 digits in the pad, and then type in the corresponding 6 digits. Whenever you went to your bank, whenever you did anything online, you'd use that authentication to prove you are who you say you are. And like I said, 10, 15 years ago, a lot of people didn't have cell phones, or at least not smartphones at that time. And with smartphones, it is more used now. For some years, the only place where it was really widely used was in online banking. Most other places, it was just too much of a hassle to do, but when it's about keeping your money safe, you will go through the extra 1 or 2 steps to make sure that it is. ID cards can also be something else we have that we can use as type 2 authentication, and they come in many different varieties. Smart cards or tokens can be contact or contactless, and they all contain a little integrated circuit chip or an ICC, which makes them function. And luckily, these also make sense. A contact card must be in contact with the machine that reads it. You insert it into the machine, it reads your card. These can be the credit cards we use, where you insert them into the chip reader, or it can be the DoD CSE, the Common Access Card. Again, insert it into a reader, then you enter your username and password, providing multi-factor authentication. Contactless cards are read by proximity. That can also be credit cards. Many of them have the little RFID chip or radio frequency identifier, which is then read by the RFID transceiver. And depending on how strong the signals are, you need to touch the card onto the reader, just like tap it, or you can hold it 5 or 6 inches away, or 10 to 15 centimeters. Key fobs are also contactless. Just like the ID card, they have that little chip. You hold it up to a reader and you get access through that door. And then finally we have the magnetic stripe cards. We've talked about those already. Very, very easy to copy. You can buy something online for a couple of $100 to make them, so really we should avoid them. And then to the cards we can add all kinds of other security measures. Just like we have on our passports. Passport is really just a piece of paper. But then they have the raised ink. They have the holograms. They have all those little extra security features that we can add to something to make it just a little more difficult to copy. And then also commonly used now, tokens. I think for the last 10, 15 years, I've used something like this in my daily work. For many years, it was one of the little RSA tags, the hardware tokens you see here. But for the last 4, maybe 5 years, it's been one of the software tokens you can see at the bottom. And they really come in 2 different varieties, HOTP or TOTP. The hash-based one-time password, we use a shared secret and an incremental counter. You click it, it generates a code, and that one code is valid until it's used. Then you can request a new one. Whereas the TOTP, or the time-based one-time password, is generated every so often. That can be every 30 or 60 seconds. And since it's generated on a clock, it's very critical that the clocks are synchronized. We have a shared secret, where we use the shared secret and the time to generate the code. If you look over on the right here, you can see the countdown on mine has about 25 seconds left. In 25 seconds, another code will generate. And then something maybe a little controversial, a company in Wisconsin offered to implant tiny radio frequency chips in their employees, and people are lining up for it. I personally think they're crazy. So they want to implant that tiny radio frequency chip, and instead of having a card, you can use it in the lunchroom. You can use it at the copier. You can use it to open doors. And then obviously the company says they're not tracking the chip. It doesn't have GPS capabilities. To which I say, yeah, I don't believe that. Whenever anyone says, oh no, we can't, or we won't do that, we'll only use it for what it's intended for, I think pretty much every time that's not the case. So I will wait 5 seconds more on the copier. What about you?